Hi guys, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic today because it's something that just really put things into perspective for myself, and I understand myself and life just a little bit better, just a little bit. So today we're going to be talking about the 7 laws of the universe. Really, it's just one law we're talking about, but for our human selves, we break it down into the 7 laws that actually correlate with the 7 different chakras or energy centers that are within our bodies as humans here in the 3D. And the reason we break it up like this is because it makes it a little bit easier for us to understand. So really, it's one thing to have knowledge of these laws, but just like having a key and the lock, if you don't use the key to fit it into the lock, you can't open the door, right? You can't go to the next level. So it's one thing to know and be aware of the laws, but it's another thing to apply them. So to truly become a master and a creatrix or a creator of your reality, you have to become these laws. So like I said, here in the 3D, the third dimension, which is where we currently find ourselves, right? The majority of us find ourselves here in the 3D, the material world. It's broken down into 7 different laws that correlate with the 7 different chakras, when truly there is just one law, the law of mind, and it's also known as the law of mentalism. So mentalism, or the law of mind, correlates with your crown chakra. Whatever you think, your thoughts become real. Everything we live is what we believe, and everything we experience manifests from the way that we're thinking. And your mind is something that you have to become. It is what you are, it's not what you want. The universe is basically like a mirror bringing back to you what it is that you're giving out. So if you in your mind all day are thinking about I want, you will only receive the wave or vibration of I want, not I have or I am. So you must change the way you move the energy through your mind, change the way you move your thoughts and think in your mind. You must truly become what it is that you want. You must think that way, possess that mentality of I have, I am, instead of I want. Because if you keep putting that out, that's all you're going to get back. You have to always think in the present and become that person. Your mind creates your reality when it knows that that reality is yourself. I know when I first learned that my thoughts have power, I always found myself thinking about the future, because at least that kind of took my mind away from the past and maybe a little bit off of the fact that I didn't have something right now. It gave me a sort of hope just to think towards the future. But when we think of the future, again, that's kind of signaling to the universe, I want or I wish, which is another way of saying I don't have. So instead of thinking of the future and focusing on the future, you must think in present terms. You must become your thinking, because mentalism, the law of mind, is what you are, not what you want to be. So then the second law is the law of correspondence. It's our third eye chakra. It states that what you are outside is what you are within. So everything from the outside will influence what's inside you. But at the same time, everything inside of you creates what's on the outside. So we use our third eye to observe the things on the outside, because really the third eye is just another expression of our mind, of our crown chakra, experiencing and understanding who we really are. And through correspondence, we are able to observe the positive and negative from the outside as well as within us. And everything in the universe has correspondence. Everything in the universe has polarity, quote, good or bad. Contrast is another way to look at this. So when we observe this contrast, we can approach it with a higher level of understanding that not everything happens just because it's happening outside. We use that correspondence to understand that, okay, it was first created from inside. And if there is contrast on the outside, that may influence what we're feeling on the inside, but knowing truly deep down, it all starts with us, right? So we use our third eye to observe this. And what we're putting out has everything to do with our vibration. So then vibration is your third eye connected to your throat chakra, which is law number 3. your throat chakra, the law of vibration. The throat chakra creates vibration in the universe through sound. So this is why too, it's really important for you to pay attention to what you're saying, because when you speak in a low vibration, things of I hate, I want, I wish, or even when you're gossiping or talking shit about another person, you might feel as if that's harmless to you, but in reality, you receive everything that you're putting out. So speaking at those levels of vibration is only going to bring more of that back to you. So like I said, you might think that it's really harmless to engage in a little bit of gossip or talk to your mom about, oh, this girl really irritated me today, but it really carries a lot more weight than just, oh, just a little bit of gossip, just a little bit of shit talking. There's a lot more weight to it, truly. Everything you put out comes back to you. So use your awareness, understand that, because I want the best. I know you want the best. We want those good vibes to come to us, so we got to give it out first. I'm not a very religious person, but in the Bible it states, and God said. The verb, the word, was the very first part of creation. It was the very first thing that existed. So truly think about this. You really have to be careful with what you speak, how you speak to other people, even when you're angry. I personally have found when I'm angry, it's best to pause, take a second, process your emotions and what you're feeling. And can you feel what you're feeling without speaking negatively, without speaking harmfully? Because even if they're not hearing you, even if you're not speaking directly to that person, you're speaking to the universe, and the universe is gonna give that back to you. So then we might even ask ourselves, well, how is this a thing when there's so many different languages? Well, the big energy behind the words that we speak is truly what is coming back to you. So it is the intention behind your words. And something that I love so much about this law, the law of vibration, is that everything is constantly vibrating. So if you find yourself getting negative feedback in a way, getting or receiving back low vibration, you can change it. Like that, you can change it. Speak love. Speak of things that you're grateful for, that you already have. This is where affirmations are very powerful, because you can speak in terms of, I'm grateful for, I am looking forward to. It's not a bad thing to look towards the future, especially if you're coming from a place of gossip or I hate, thinking of, oh, I'm looking forward to. That's a much different energy than the gossip, right? So then this brings us to number 4, rhythm, which correlates with your heart chakra. Rhythm is here to teach us that everything in the universe has a time to do something. So when we look at rhythm and vibration together, you realize you have low moments and you have high moments. You have positive, you have negative. You have good, you have bad. You have slow, you have fast. You have outside, you have within. There is a time and a moment to do everything, and you must respect this because the entire universe works like this. And really it's about finding the harmony in this, because when you understand rhythm, or that everything in life, in the universe, has a time and a place, you realize that it's not the best for everyone to be all good and high and mighty all the time. When you feel sad, feel sad. Understand that there is a time and a space for that. Know that it's okay to feel those emotions. We are human beings, okay? We feel things. We feel the fuck out of things all the time. Then have the awareness and empower yourself to know you can change your vibration. How do you do that? You change the way you speak. You change the way you think. Then the rhythm in your heart will start to beat at a different level of frequency. And when you do that, you're altering your vibration, which actually gives you the power to alter time. When all of these things are coherent, it helps you to manifest the things that you want in your life more quickly. So growing up, and even today as adults, we all know the expression of time flies when you're having fun. Well, then you might ask yourself, what is having fun? Having fun is being in love with what you're doing, which when you love what you're doing, you're vibrating at a higher frequency. Your heart is beating to a quicker rhythm. So this explains that when you vibrate higher, when your frequency is higher, time then begins to go faster. You begin to manifest things more quickly, which is why when we find ourselves in that flow state or that love state or that feeling of having fun, our heart and everything is coherent and we're vibrating really high. We're having all the fun. Which then alters time. And we're like, the time just flew by, right? Because we were really having that much fun. Our fifth law is the law of cause and effect, and it correlates to our solar plexus. And your solar plexus is basically an echo letting you know that your vibration, what you're speaking, and your heart, your rhythm, all of this coherent together is truly conditioning everything that you are receiving back in your life. So looking at this as cause and effect, say everything that you do, you're in a low vibration right now, let's just say that. Everything that you're putting out in that low vibration, that cause, will affect you in a low vibration. Everything has a cause and effect. So some of us lose ourselves in, oh, my circumstances, like if only the shit outside would change. Well, this is where this is also known as the law of responsibility, because we have to take responsibility for some of our circumstances. We have to understand that every effect we're experiencing first had a cause, and to understand that more than likely we're the cause. And this is a really tough pill for some to swallow. I know that it was when I found myself years and years of depression. I'm like, there's no way that I manifested this. There's no way that I manifested the depression or the STD or losing my job or getting into the car crash, whatever your situation might be. But if you just take some responsibility, have a higher awareness, and accept that, oh, fuck, I co-created this. I am the cause to that effect. You know what that does? That empowers you. That empowers you. And then when you understand how the other laws work together, how your other chakras, how much influence they have on your life, and the fact that just like that, you can change your vibration, you can change the way you speak. You can change the way you think. Having those two things be coherent, you will change the vibration and the rhythm of your heart, and you can lift your frequency. You don't have to stay down here. You don't have to. You've been down there long enough. You can make a change. So sometimes when we're understanding this law, we might start to look at ourselves like, oh my God, I'm a bad person. Well, understand it's not a question of whether you're a bad person or not. You must then question, am I vibrating as high as I possibly could? When did this happen to me? When did this start? Here you can think of the past and maybe to the future of why this is going on. How is this serving you? So if something, quote, bad happens to you, it's always because we need to learn something. We need to be more conscious or aware of something. And at that particular time, you were vibrating at such a low frequency that you needed an experience the same level as that frequency to make things click for you. So again, it's not really about asking the question of, am I a bad person or am I a good person? It's, am I vibrating as high as I could be, or why am I vibrating so low right now? So then if you do find yourself like series of unfortunate events right now, right? I've been there many a time. But if you find yourself vibrating low, you can change it. Change your vibration, change the way you think, to change the rhythm of your heart, which ultimately will change the effects of your cause. So then we move on to the sixth law, which is the law of polarity, which is associated with your sacrum. It's also known as the law of creation, how everything has a positive and a negative. This positive and negative is actually what helps us to move forward in our lives. There are positive and negative charges in protons, electrons, and neutrons, which is what we're made of. So really, polarity is something that helps us to exist, not something that separates us. So then when you understand this, you realize that the good and bad is actually something that helps us to move forward. It helps us to evolve. It's a way to kind of keep the train rolling on the track. Because let's say that positive is up here, right? And negative is down here. You need to build your momentum, right? Going down with that negativity, that negative space, so that you have enough energy to shoot up and go back up to the positive. It really is what helps us keep moving. So just a little personal scenario in my own life. I have this part-time job, right? That is less than enjoyable for me, but I stick around because with my current circumstances, I need it to pay the bills, right? But if I wouldn't have that circumstance, if I wouldn't have the contrast that I experience at this job, I wouldn't be able to push forward the way that I am on the path that my mission is, towards my authentic self. This contrast, or this quote negative, if I want to look at it like that, is really what is giving me that energy to build that momentum to shoot back up again, to shoot towards my authenticity and back on the path in which I know my mission is. So maybe change your perspective as the positive and negative of something that like it holds you back because there's a negative. Look at it as something that shoots you forward. And also when you start to view things in this way, you're very unbothered unicorn, right? But really, you do become unbothered because you're like, oh, I recognize that contrast. Let me alchemize that feeling and use that energy to move forward. So then that brings us to the last law, the seventh law, the law of generation. And by generation, I don't mean lineage. I mean generation as in to generate something. This law is associated with our root chakra. And it states that everything is generated by the polarity and nothing is ever destroyed. You could per se look at it as in if something were to be perceived as being destroyed, really what's happening is these things are born over and over and over again, regenerating themselves. Because at the true essence of everything, it is energy. Energy is neither created or destroyed. It is transformed. So that's this law of generation, is that nothing is ever truly being destroyed. The energy is always being born again or being transformed or evolving. So as humans here in the 3D plane right now, which is where a lot of us find ourselves, you can hear some talk about the shift to 4D and 5D, which I can definitely make videos on that in the future because it's very fascinating to me. But as beings trying to navigate the 3D, learning and understanding these laws and our chakras, these energy centers, these potent energy centers within our bodies, within our beings, understanding how they work and the power that each one carries, how to use those and align them and have them be in coherence, empowers us to navigate this 3D world more confidently. So just a little recap. If you're someone kind of like me who just recently found yourself in a really low vibration, just know that you can change it. First, change the way you speak. Start speaking in love, start speaking in gratitude, start speaking in I am. Even if it feels a little funky, even if you feel like maybe you're lying to yourself a little bit, do it anyway. Start speaking that way anyway, because you know what? Speaking that way, the reason it might feel a little funky is because your vibration's down here. And you made the choice that you're gonna start speaking up here. So then what's gonna happen is the universe is gonna do this, and it's gonna close the gap for you. Your mind gives you what you are, not what you want to be. So then by speaking differently, speaking of love, of gratitude, and thinking of love and gratitude and seeing that, visualizing that, play around with visualization. By doing these things, you're going to shift your heart. You're gonna open your heart. You're gonna change the vibration of its rhythm. And when you do that, you change the effects of your cause and you begin to generate different energy, which ultimately then creates the circumstances and reality that you see right in front of you. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in, for tapping into this frequency, for showing up just as you are. I trust that this serves you. Sending you so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And so it is.